this is Rich from Create Logos. So today we're going to be designing this ribbon style logo or label. Quite versatile because we only need to change the text to a business name, Frank's Butchers, established in 1908, whatever the case is, and of course it's very versatile. So let's get rid of that, and what we're going to do is dive straight in and start doing the ribbon. So I've just selected the rectangle tool, drag it out like that, come up to path, object to path, and what I'm going to do now is Control D to duplicate it, select tool, bring it down. Let's just change that to a different color for now. Grabbing all of the right handle there, I'm just going to close this in to make it a little bit smaller, move it up, and Control on the mouse wheel will zoom me in, bring this in, so just a little bit overhanging there and slightly down, so it's about I'd say about a third of the way down from the top. And if you imagine the triangle cut out here to form the ribbon, maybe make it a little bit longer. Yeah, that looks good. Good. And then what we're going to do is do that cutout. So if I come up to here, enable snapping, make sure it's snapping bounding boxes, and we want to select the snap center of objects. Choosing the Bezier tool, Bezier pen, hover on the top corner, left click, find the center of the object. You can see the little X appear there in the middle, click on that, hover over to the left hand side, click on that, and as we come back up I'm going to hold the control down as I click on this final piece over here. That's now formed a nice little triangle. Hold the shift button, select the rectangle up to the path and difference, and we've created our cutout, and that's essentially our banner, or the edge of the ribbon. I'm going to make this a little bit longer. Whoops. And what I did there, all I did was I grabbed hold of this, held the shift button down, and just pulled it out a little bit, and then I'm going to move this over just a little bit, just to extend it just a little bit. There you go, that doesn't look too bad. So Control D to duplicate, flip the object horizontally, hold the control button down, move it over to the right hand side, this on the same horizontal plane. Select the two objects together, group them together, press shift. We've got the blue rectangle selected as well. And what we want to do is come to the Align and Distribute menu. We're going to center that on the vertical axis, and that's just making it proportionally correct. Selecting the two together, let's drop those down to the bottom. Let's make this nice bright red. That essentially is our ribbon, or at least the start of our ribbon. Now what we're going to do is create the circles. Select the circle, and holding Control and Shift, I'm going to create a nice large circle. Now we've got the circle part here which is filled, and we've got an outer stroke here. If yours doesn't have an outer stroke, it doesn't matter, we can apply it in a second. Just going to expand this out. So what we can do, we can get rid of the center just by pressing the X button there so it's clear, and now we can see that outer line. As I said, if you didn't have an outer stroke, you just got to hold the shift button down and press any of these colors and it will give you that outer stroke. And of course I'm selecting black. What we want is for this just to overhang the edge of that, possibly bring it in just a little bit. That's not too bad. Hold shift, select that, and align it up on the vertical and horizontal axis. So it's perfectly aligned with that center ribbon, and that looks pretty good. What we're going to do now is just have a quick check at the stroke menu over here, see how large that is. That's 5. That's not too bad. I think we could do a little bit bolder there. How about 7? Yeah, possibly. And if we Control Delete to create a second one, come in, and this one we're going to make 5. So we've got a slightly thicker, a slightly thinner one. Bring these two together. Yep, that looks good. And what we're going to do now is select these two. Make sure that is not selected when scaling objects. Scale the stroke width by the same proportion. Make sure that is not on. So with these two selected, Control and D, I'm going to scale this down to form the center ring. Because it's a little bit smaller there. They've closed in, so we just select that center one, and we'll just bring this in again. And we're looking for a similar sort of width to that. By not having that scale, that button on, what it's enabled us to do is, as we've come down, is kept the same stroke width, 7, 7, and the inner one is 5 and 5. Without that on, as you make it smaller, your width stroke will actually change and reduce as well. There we go, that doesn't look too bad. So this text here can be anything you want. For the interest of the tutorial, let's create the word special, and the second word is offer, and third word 50% space off. Let's just make them all white. Come up to the text tool here, and what we're going to do is make them all bold. Now I've selected a straight font. It doesn't really matter which font you use, but as long as it's straight tend to work a lot better when you're dealing with curving words or using ribbons. And let's apply that bold. There we go. Let's move that over. We'll come to the 50% in a second. We'll move it up there so we know where it is. And the special, essentially what we want to do is we want to curve it around there. So we could probably do with both of these, reducing them in size just a little bit. And we're going to grab hold of the second ring there, duplicate, bring it out, select the special, select the ring, text, put on path, and you can see that is wrapped around the inner circle. Selecting the circle again now, tap it again, and we've got the rotation handles. I'm going to move this around so it's the right way up. Grab hold of the word special, let's move it over, and we can see it's not too bad. It looks a little bit out of, it's not exactly placed there. So what we can do is move this down just a touch, and then grab whatever we do to the circle, we'll adjust that as well. So if we grab hold of one of these handles here, hold down the shift button, and that'll stretch it out. You see it changing the letter as well. The font, let's move this over just a touch. There we go, starting to work a little bit better. Take your time with it. I'm only doing a rough sort of example here. Obviously I'd spend a lot more time if this was going to be one of my clients. And there we go. So we've curved that around. Tell you what, let's change that black. That's the 50% that needs to be white. Be black as well. And let's get rid of that. Whoopsie. Don't want to get rid of it while it's still attached to the special. So what we're going to do is select the word special, come up to here, change it to path, object to path. Let's break that up using the ungroup selection tool. And then we're going to go path union, so that is one word, and that is no longer affiliated with this. I made that little mistake there. I went to remove this, and straight away that special jumped out of the circle there. I press Control Z to undo the last move. Because that's no longer part of this, I'm going to delete it. And let's grab hold of this ring here. Control D, and move that over. And we're going to put this on the inside of the circle. So the word offer, select it, shift to select that, come up to text, put on path, and you notice it's on the outside. We want it on the inside and obviously the right way up. So come over to flip selected objects horizontally, click on that, let's put it on the inside. Because it's on the inside, it's taking up, it's a little bit cramped in there, rather than being spaced on the outside. So what we can do is zoom in, double tap on that, so see the little blue highlight box suggesting that it's text. You notice all the text symbols have come up here, adjustments, and the first one in the top here is spacing, the spacing between the letters. So I'm going to increase that a little bit slow by tapping the arrow, so let's try just typing in 5. Maybe a bit more, let's go 10. Yeah, that's nicely spaced out, very similar to the special over there. So let's just rotate this around just a bit. Great. Let's move the offer over to the center. Oops, jump back for some reason. And that's not too bad, actually. You can see I could do with bowing down there just a little bit. So if I bring this down just a touch, there we go. Move that up, and I think that's pretty good right there. So again, take your time with this. I'm obviously plowing through this, so I'll make it a long-winded video clip for you. We're going to create a path, object to path, break it apart, path union. I'm actually going to select the special as well at the same time, so I've got the 2 of them selected, and I'm going to join those together by pressing path union so they are joined. Now we don't need this anymore, so I can remove that just by pressing delete. And with what is a great tip with the text, I mean mine is probably not 100% straight, so you can come up to this ruler at the top here and can pull down a guideline just by left clicking and pulling down a line. You can pull as many guides down as you need. So I could use one of these, bring it down and align it up with the, let's just get enable, turn that off, and you can line it up for instance with the very top of the R there, and I'm not far off actually, just a tiny bit off. And then of course all you needed to do then is click on the individual word and adjust it, or if you've still got this connected to the circle, you can adjust the circle just to tweak it by using these guidelines and then get it beautifully straight. So let's just go back to view and let's remove those guidelines, not to confuse people. Red ribbon, let's bring it up to the top and 50% off. Oh, that's below the ribbon, so we're going to bring that up to the top as well. And if we hold shift, select that, so the 2 of them are selected together, align and distribute, and we want it on the center and vertical horizontal axis. And that doesn't look too bad. We could probably do with making it a little bit bigger, so I'm holding control and shift at the moment just to make it a little bit wider. That's pretty good. Now we've got these little shadows that I'm missing here. I don't know if you remember my example. And what we can do is come over to the Bezier pen, enable snap, and make sure that the snap to paths is on. We're going to just catch this corner over here. See it, how does you hover over it, it lights up. And if we zoom in, left click, bring it down to the edge there, left click, bring that up to there, left click, and finally press control. Now with this, what we could do, if you double tap it, you get these nodes that appear. We can just move this into this area here, into the black, so it forms a little arch there. I'm going to hold down the shift, so I'm going to just press the maroon to fill it with maroon, and then I'm going to hold down the shift to remove the outer stroke. So we can see that as in there. And the reason why I've gone over that line is because of the shape of it. I don't want to leave any gaps there at all. And what we can do, speaking of gaps, we can tidy this up a bit by cutting that off, but we need to change these strokes. At the moment they're currently still strokes, and we need to turn them into paths. So if we select the inner ring, second, third, fourth, so we've got them all highlighted. Another quick way of doing it is just left, if you press Alt, left click in the space and then just draw freehand through, that will select everything that red line has just touched. Come to path, stroke to path, and now these two will work together. So we're going to select this outer ring here, Control D to duplicate, shift left click that, highlighting it, and now we're going to work out the difference between these two, path difference. Let's just cut that off, and we've got a beautiful little piece there that is slightly darker and following the shadow. So if I select that again, Control D, I'm going to flip it horizontally, and holding Control, I'm going to move this over to here, and you can see because I've still got the enable snapping on, it's managed to connect to the corners there quite nicely. And again, that's not too bad. And it's kind of giving the impression there that it's folding behind the round circle. So that concludes our logo, stroke 50% off. What we can do now is left click on it as well, click it twice and use the rotation handles now and create that angle, which always looks better when you've got a banner going across it, especially for a sale, when you've got discount sales on, etc. Thank you for viewing, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. See you again.